Welcome back to the Thinker, everyone.
Welcome back.
Sharon's back.
I am.
It's a brand new year, it's 2025, and we're cracking on with this restoration.
Yes.
We've got a super clear vision about what we want the end result to be, because we want to keep it as traditional as we can and retain as much of the character of the old building as possible. So the building kind of dictates to us what it needs to be like.
Absolutely. I mean, it's quite sad. It isn't sad because it's great that people are buying new old buildings and wanting to make them better rather than them falling down, going to rack and ruin. We've got several examples of things like that around here.
A lot in the area falling down.
All around, and it is sad. So it is brilliant that people are taking these old buildings on, but what seems to be happening is they're trying to transform them into something that they're not meant to be, you know, putting really modern things inside them and taking out all the old character. So for those of you that have only just joined our channel, basically we're trying to keep everything we possibly can.
There's too many houses, get the soul ripped out of them, and once they're gone, you know. So we intend to keep this one as a monument to the history of the area. Just crack on.
Let's do it. Welcome to Think Alive. We're Sharon and Andy, just two people with a dream and a vision of restoring our traditional stone-built farmhouse in southern Spain, transforming it into a beautiful off-grid home and sharing our journey with you.
So we're in the old snug, and obviously we want to retain the character of the old building. The other part of it is it's got to be fit for modern living. It's got to be free of damp, it's got to be warm, comfortable, nice environment with all modern things like electric lights and things like that, and which they obviously didn't have when they were built. That's where the difficulty comes in, kind of blending the modern living with retaining the character of the old building. We're kind of getting there. We've got a vision, as I said before, and I hope you'll see as it unfolds how we managed to achieve this. In the meantime now, I'm going to carry on with this wall. So I'm off at ground level, get this wall pointed up and finished off. Someone said to me the other day that all Spanish houses are damp, which to a certain extent is true. Every single place we've ever lived has been damp, rented places in the past and stuff, even apartment blocks and things have all been damp and cold and impossible to heat, etc. The main reason is that the more modern houses are built out of terrible rubbish materials, and the older ones, stone built like this, when they're repaired and fixed, they tend to use cement and concrete to do that. It's the worst thing you can use. Basically all cement and concrete etc. does is traps moisture in the walls, making them damp walls. Damp walls are cold walls, impossible to heat. The usual solution, of course, is to tile the walls up to about here on the inside all the way around, which actually helps to stop them feeling damp inside and etc. But it still traps moisture in the walls, and the walls are still wet, which means they're cold, inherently cold. Same on the outside, they tend to clad them with stones and things or tiles, and after a few years the damp in the walls, the moisture in the walls just actually pushes this stuff off, so you've got to start repairing it again. The answer is, as we're doing, is to use lime mortar and lime mixtures to do your walls. Even for plastering it should be lime. The average temperatures over the last few weeks has been around 6 degrees here. The current temperature in the kitchen there is 21 degrees, just short of 21 degrees Celsius, with a humidity of around 40%, which is fantastic. Hello Tilly. So yeah, it's such a shame really, especially with the old buildings, that people really should stick with lime. Spanish builders will not use it at all. They don't like it, they hate it, they just cement everything, which leaves the house and leaves you with a cold, damp house. On the subject of temperatures, as I just said, the average temperature has been 6 degrees, average daily temperature. The temperature in the rest of the house, the main part of the house, which has got no heating at all. It's not even got any windows, it's just got wooden shutters that have seen better days. With a big gaps where all the wind can blow through, and an open chimney is 14 degrees Celsius, which isn't bad at all. So it just goes to show, keep it dry, use the right materials to allow the walls to breathe, especially solid stone walls. It even applies in houses in the UK, some of the old timber frame buildings from the 1500s, etc. They've been there for 500-600 years and without any problems at all. Some people come along, start using expanding foam to fill the gaps and cement to build them up, and within 2 or 3 years those old timber frames will start to rot. It's an interesting subject really, and well worth knowing. People just dismiss it and go, you're talking rubbish, it's all the time, but it's absolutely true. So yeah, have a think about it yourselves. There's interesting stuff on it out there, good information. In case you're wondering, the noise you can hear in the background is the kettle on the wood burner. Free hot water. Oh dear. It'll go in there. Another thing I've seen a lot of, if you do manage to heat your Spanish house, is the dreaded black mould on the walls, which is not only horrible and a health hazard, but yeah, I've seen it so many times. As soon as you manage to bring the temperature of the house up, you get so much condensation on the walls, this black mould stuff grows. It doesn't actually have to be that way, as we've proved with this house and many others, but yeah, many houses we've lived in, many houses I've seen, get black mould when you manage to get them slightly warm. The downside, of course, to using traditional materials and lime, etc., is the time it takes to do it. It's very, very time consuming, as those of you who watch the videos often will know. If you're paying someone to do it, that equates also to very expensive, so it's worth learning to do it yourself. Save yourself a fortune. There we go, another massively overdressed before. I have a nice bit done. Again, I let it dry, give it a good brush down. I want to try and get this corner done first, so I can move that chair over to this side, so I can start on that wall as well, to break up the monotony of the pointing. There's plenty of stuff to do over there. Over here I've got to do a little bit of pointing down the bottom there, get this line washed up, whatever. I'm going to take the door off to do that, and so I might do that next, I'm not sure. The kettle's just boiled up, so it's time for a coffee. So we just had a quick coffee over Christmas. While Sharon was away, so Fitbill contacted us again, remember Fitbill? Yeah. Said there's loads of shoes, all the work boots I wear all the time. Well, this time, liberate your toes. This is their winter range, and they asked us to pick from some of these. So I've gone for these really quite smart.
Aren't they?
I get to wear them on a Sunday, because the rest of the week I'm usually working.
Yes.
Yes, very, very nice. We're very, very pleased with them. Actually, they're probably the best shoes we've ever had. Even with work boots, and I hammer boots and shoes, I really do. They've lasted well over a year. Yeah. And even then I just wear them out rather than them fall apart or anything. What have you got? What have you gone for?
Look at these beauties. Look at the colour. I just love the colour.
That's the colour we want the chimney breast to be. Actually,
yeah, I'm not sure it's going to happen.
Something like that.
But yeah, and Velcro, so easy to put on and take off. Love them, absolutely fantastic. And I've said before, because this is my second pair of trainers I've had from them, they are so comfortable. wide fitting. Even though I've got small feet, I've got wide feet.
Liberate your toes.
And they really are comfortable. So thanks again, Phil, for our Christmas
Yes,
present.
and there's a link below to this, I think it's the Winter Ranger shoes, keep your feet warm this winter. And if there's a code there, you get a massive 28% discount. So that's our Christmas present back to you lot as well. Get you to grab yourselves a bargain. Anyway, should we crack on?
Let's do it.
So with the door out of the way, I can now get all this bottom area just above this piece of timber there filled in, made nice, ready for lime washing. If I get that done today, then by tomorrow it'll be dry enough to have a coat of lime wash. We can have a good go at that. So I'm going to get a mix on. Rest of the mix I'm going to throw in this wall and carry on with that. Right, that's that bottom over there done. When that's dry, that's ready for lime washing. And the other wall is inching ever closer. I've got a bit more of that done. Happy days. So I've been bashing on with this wall. Nearly at the end. But at least I'm kind of inside where the wood's got to where the wood store's going to be. So it's not quite as critical. Sharon was going to start on that lime washing on that wall, but there's been an emergency at the dog rescue, so she's had to go over there to help out. So I'm going to leave this here at the minute now, and I'm quite happy actually with what I've got done, I must say, and get a lime wash mix on. That bit I plastered up yesterday, it has dried off nicely, so we'll see if we can get at least one coat on that wall, and keep plodding on. So I'm going to start at the top, logically. It's a logical place to start, isn't it? Okay, it's a brand new brush. Get the edges done first, and then we'll try and wallop in between everywhere without getting it everywhere. I suppose even weirder than some of the others, it doesn't even look like it's touched it at the moment. Sometimes it does this, but we'll keep going. Getting it all over everywhere. Luckily, until it carbonates off, it does actually wipe off very quite easy with a damp cloth. Which is fortunate. It's going to take us several coats this, I think. Right, it's looking a bit better already, so no doubt it's going to need several coats, but we'll leave it off to dry and see how it goes.
So I'm back, all good things, you know, all the plans and everything all went to pot this morning. Had a phone call from our neighbour across the road, would I help him on the dog walk this morning, so couldn't say no. He's been really good to us when poor old Dottie was poorly, rushed her to hospital for us, and yeah, so couldn't say no, so I'm absolutely filthy. Whoops. Sorry about that. Absolutely filthy. I've had 27 dogs climbing all over me, but sadly after the last walk we got back and one of the little dogs had been in the wars and was really in a bad way, so Jans had to dash it off to the vets and asked me if I'd hold the fork. So literally I've just got back and poor old Andy's had to do all the lime washing that I was supposed to be doing. But that's the way it goes. Anyway, wanted you to meet our latest addition. She doesn't have a name yet, so if you've got any ideas, We were hoping that she'd kind of name herself. She's very sweet. She's about 12 weeks old, we think. Another rescue. It was where we go on Sunday for lunch, actually. We go for a carvery, and there's a lovely young girl that serves us very often, and she'd put a post on Facebook to say that brother and sister needed loving homes. She'd been fostering them but couldn't keep them. She hadn't got enough room. She lives in an apartment in town. And the brother had been adopted and was being picked up the Monday before Christmas. So I had a word with Andy, and he said, oh, well, seeing as we lost little Dottie recently, we'll take her on. Unfortunately, we picked her up Monday afternoon, and I was away on the Tuesday morning back to England for Christmas, so Andy's had to cope with her himself, but he's done wonderfully. We're trying to get her integrated with the rest of the cats, slowly. She loves Catsy because he's a big fat fluffy thing, so she's taken to him. The rest, she had a little sniff, but we're keeping her in at the moment anyway because she's too tiny. Tilly's not bothered, just has a little sniff, and she's fine with her, so that's good. You can hear Jessie again in the background. She likes to be heard, don't you, Jessie? She's desperate to go out. So yeah, so this is our new baby. No doubt you'll be seeing more of her. And talking of Tilly, there she is. You can see very relaxed with a stick in her mouth. Yeah, nothing phases her much really, does it, Till? A good girl.
So we're making, needless to say, we're making progress with everything. Yes. I've got the wall done to here. That little bit that's left is actually going to be inside the wood store, so the finish isn't as critical aesthetically. It still needs to be finished off, of course. That wall, even now as we speak, is drying out massively white. When I first put it on, it was just like I just wet it. But it is actually, yeah, coming out quite well. So that's happy days. We'll update you on that on the next video, of course. Yes. And what else we doing?
Of course, I'm just back from England, and I brought back another 2 packets of the plum pigment. So I think over the next couple of days we're going to try that again and see if we can get the colour that we like to do the chimney breast here. So
yes.
Yes. Hello Tilly, you brought me your shoe, what's left of it. Yes, that's my old trainers, by the way.
They're not Fitzville.
Not Fitzville, no. They're Tilly ones now, aren't they?
Tillyville. So yeah, shorter video again, but I could have spent the whole time filming doing this and waffling on, but I think you've got enough waffle out of me for today, for this video. So we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you to everyone that supported the channel. We really couldn't do it without you, and it's so much appreciated.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.